Before I start, I would just like to say to those of you who are sensitive on this issue, I am actually a big fan of Batman, so please don't put a bomb in my car. So, Batman, Iron Man, Green Arrow, The Punisher, Nick Fury. What do all of these characters have in common? They're not superheroes. We've all been there, or else we've all had that friend who has been there, and has looked up to one of these characters and has tried to copy them in one way or another. It's just not, no good can come of this. Take it from a guy who's actually tried to stop a bullet with a cape. First off, it doesn't work. And second, it's just not worth it. And hopefully you'll see that in minutes to come. That being said, before I finish my speech, I hope you'll understand what it takes to be a superhero, why children looking up to certain heroes is a bad idea, and what we can do to try and correct this issue. First, let's begin with what it takes to be a superhero. Ever since Mandrake the Magician, the first superhero, according to Cocky.org, appeared in 1934, the term superhero has been used both widely and pretty loosely. It has been used for doctors, police officers, and even the real-life human spider, which I personally don't understand, because he never really saved anybody. All he did was climb a few buildings, but I digress. And in order for me to make any kind of stance on any topic related to this subject, I need to provide you, the audience, with a definition of superhero. In doing my own research, this is the definition I came across several times. According to OxfordDictionaries.org, a superhero is, quote, a benevolent fictional character with superhuman powers such as Superman. Boom. Wish I could just stop the speech right there, but I still have 5 minutes to go and have yet to persuade anybody of anything. So in the meantime, all characters who lie within this definition will be referred to as superheroes, and those who do not will be referred to as comic book heroes. And just to clarify, one of these things is not like the other. Okay, Batman is a comic book hero. Superman is a superhero. Comic book hero, superhero. Say it with me, comic book hero, superhero. And Stanley said you guys weren't smart on this Twitter. Okay. Anyway, now that I've established the standard for heroes in general to me, let's discuss the problem we have facing our society today. The problem facing our society today is kids. What the devil's wrong with these kids today? It's kids. They're pliable sponges, and we all know. We've all seen it. They imitate everything that they see. People will tell you this is a normal thing for kids to do, which it is, but normal doesn't always mean it's a good idea. Let's say, for the sake of an example, a kid looks up to Paul McCartney. Without a doubt, they're going to grow out a bad haircut and join a rock and roll boy band. Or let's say somewhere a child looks up to you. You may be a good role model. You know, you may be responsible, you may practice good hygiene, or you may take advantage. Teach them the name game and introduce them to the name Tucker. Tucker, but Bucker. Anywho, so therefore, logically speaking, kids who look up to Batman will try to jump off tall buildings with a fake grappling gun and attempt to land safely, cape in tow. Now, all impossibilities aside, this kind of thing takes an incredible amount of upper body strength. Brandon knows what I'm talking about. I've seen you around campus. By the way, lose the cape. It's me. Plus, according to James Hinson, a professor of child development here at Johnson County Community College, role models actually play a very important role in children's lives. It helps them develop what's called self-efficacy, which is regularly confused with self-esteem. Self-esteem is knowing that you're popular, or knowing that you're pretty, or knowing that someone somewhere maybe kind of likes you. Self-efficacy, on the other hand, gives one that sense of, I can do this, I'm capable of that, I'm worth something. So no one will argue the importance of this self-efficacy in the lives of children. What people will argue to the end of time, however, is who these role models should be. And I'm here to tell you that is not comic book heroes. And I would love nothing more than to tell you right now how we can limit comic book heroes, but given the nature of this class, I'm required to go into a transitional sentence. Now we have looked at what defines a superhero, and the problem facing our society today. Next, I'd like to talk to you about how we can take steps in correcting this issue. Anywho, comic book heroes are not the role models our children need to be looking up to. And that being said, we need to limit them where they are most available, that is, in television time. And there are 3 ways we could go about this right now. First, parents could, take the welfare of their children into account and simply censor what they watch. Second, we could make these shows into more adult-oriented television shows, add a little violence, take out a few values. It would kind of be like if Family Guy and The Walking Dead had a love child. And while I think that a few of us would agree that this would be the greatest TV show of all time, I think we could all agree that it wouldn't produce very good role models for children. And, whoa, that's not right. Or third, we simply do away with them completely. This may seem a bit radical, but according to Cecil LeBach, a contributor to the Michigan Law Review, polls consistently show that about 4/5 of Americans are troubled by present levels of media violence, believing it to exert a deleterious influence on the young. So what better way to lower these levels than to be rid of an unnecessary genre or two, namely comic book heroes. So in conclusion, we've now seen what it takes to be a superhero by very definition. We have looked at why children looking up to these comic heroes is both detrimental for them and those around them, and I have shown you 3 different paths we can take right now in the direction of correcting this issue. Ultimately, we need to give children someone to look up to who is quite literally physically impossible to become. Like Superman. The guy is the very definition of a superhero. If you remember the slide from Oxford Dictionaries I showed you earlier, it said a benevolent fictional character with superhuman powers such as Superman. The closest any child will ever come to being Superman is putting on a costume and ripping open his or her clothes in the middle of class. That's the kind of thing that we need. As contradictory to modern society as it may seem, we have to limit our children in certain ways to keep them safe. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a plan to